picks today. We've got a lot of action to cover. Of course, we got college football, the NBA, the NBA hockey game. We've got a lot. Let's take a look here at our green room. We've got our pick dogs, and Brian Bitler will join us as well a little later. But we have all the pick dogs ready to cover the action today. And welcome our co-host to the show today, Joe D'Amico. Joe, how you doing? How are things going on in Vegas?
Well, Tony, as usual, I'm happy to be here with you and the rest of the Pick Dogs crew. A lot of excitement here in Vegas. Obviously, you know, we're in uncharted territories, even for Vegas. We haven't had this amount of games to bet on ever. I mean, you've got Major League Baseball going into its last weekend of regular season before we hit the postseason. We have the NBA going into their finals by next week. We have college football going into third or fourth week, and we've got some new conferences coming about this week, some announcements about some new conferences starting over the next several weeks. We heard that college basketball is going to start, and obviously we've got the NBA, two series, East and West Conference Finals, 3-1. Just a lot of things going on, and Vegas is hopping because of it. The books are making money. I know we're going to get into a few things later on in the college and pro football segments, but very exciting time of the year for all of us, sports fans and sports bettors in general, Tony.
Absolutely. I got to get your thoughts here on the Lakers Nuggets. Lakers get the win. It's a push in some areas, but I heard in Vegas a lot of Laker money pushed the closing line at LA -6.5. So those that waited and took the plus cash in Vegas.
Absolutely. You know, I'll be honest with you. When you got a team like the Lakers, we talked about this quite a few times on this show. A team like the Lakers is always going to get the fan favorite money. In Vegas, you're going to get a lot of LA people that come here to bet. But people in general like to bet the Lakers. They're on a lot of TV games anyway. They're LA. They're historic. People are going to bet them. The general public are going to bet them. But they did move that line to 6.5. I know a couple of guys that hit it back at 6.5 just before game time, but it wasn't for astronomical money. I will tell you, I also know a few people that had the Lakers minus 6.5 and got hooked on it. You know, that's why we talk time and time again about shopping a number. Obviously, you can't foresee every single game that's going to be decided by a half a point. But that just goes to show you how important a half point is to all of us in the betting circles.
Absolutely. Of course, that Dolphins and Jaguars game, Dolphins covered. That was a strong angle I heard circulating through Vegas where the 0-2 teams had covered, was like 22 of the 29 last times the 0-2 team covering. Of course, now it's 23 of 30. So the 0-2 desperate team gets the money.
Well, yeah, you know, I've heard a lot of those angles over the last few days, today, and I'll be honest with you. I know a lot of people that took the other side of that game here in town. I will tell you, I spoke to two different racing sportsbook directors this morning, and they were both very happy with the outcome of last night's game. And I'll tell you, the take overall in NFL has just been huge. And we talked about this last week with a couple of these conferences in the college football starting. With the SEC starting up, you know, you got the Big Ten starting up soon. You got the MAC. You got the now an announcement that the MWC, which, I mean, it's not one of the big conferences, not Power 5, but still a conference that plays some of these big teams throughout the year. And obviously, a lot of these are not going to play out of the conference this season. But more and more of these college football conferences, we're going to see more and more action, more and more big games, more and more marquee games. The one thing we won't get to see this college football season, Tony, is these interconference rivalries that we've enjoyed so much over the years. You know, teams from in-state that have rivalries, but they usually play one time a year, but they're not in the same conference. We're not going to see that. These conferences are going to strictly stay within the conference during their schedule this season. But like I said, a lot more teams, some Power 5 conferences coming around this week, and we're going to talk about some in a few weeks. Very exciting time of year.
Absolutely, very exciting time. Of course, we're right in the middle of some playoff races. Teams trying to jockey for position. Next week we'll be in the round of the playoffs here. I'll give you an update here. Milwaukee up 3-0 on St. Louis here. This is a team trying to get into the playoffs with St. Louis. They're in the mix there here. It's getting really exciting in the National League pennant race and of course playoffs. All right, we'll continue here with the drive-through, guys. We have a lot of picks coming. We're gonna get that college football game covered. We've got the Celtics Heat pick coming, some NFL hockey for tonight covered as well. So let's get the show rolling. Let's welcome Joe Duffy to the drive-through. Joe, how you doing today? And boy, you've been here you've been in this industry a long time. Can you remember all these sports overlapping? It's some chore, you know.
No, it's certainly been crazy. And yeah, I guess it was a couple Saturdays ago was the first time, I forget since when, but that all four major professional sports were going. And like the better looking Joey D said, I'm very excited about some of these smaller conferences coming back because a lot of my totals plays have come from those conferences. Of course, 2020 is going to be a wash as far as having, from opening from the week before Labor Day all through beyond the new year, but still plenty of winning to be done. And I am excited not only about the SEC debuting tomorrow, but the smaller conferences, the MAC and the Mountain West and all those other conferences, hopefully coming in about a month.
That's right. So, Joe, that's Joe D'Amico. That's really good here. I know it's the public they're not as excited about the smaller conference, but the big bettors are because they feel they have an edge in those smaller conference.
Tony, I'll tell you what. I'm sorry, John. All I want to say is I was going to agree with you. There's gold in Demdale Hills. The MAC, the Mid-America, the Sun Belt. There is money to be made in those conferences. Just because they're not on TV every Saturday or they're not on the cover of the sports page every Sunday or Monday doesn't mean there isn't money. There's gold in Demdale Hills.
Duffy, what do you have to add to that?
Yeah, I was going to say, well, actually, Joe, the better-looking Joey D, now with ESPN 3 or whatever they call it, ESPN Plus, a lot of these games I'm able to watch on my computers anyway, in previous years when we had all these other conferences. So you can watch them somewhere. But, yeah, I do because a lot of my systems have to do with over-analyzing and over-adjustment. I think that's part of the reason that the final score can be very deceptive. And quite often, a lot of people will say, look, these two teams are such high-scoring teams. I'm going to bet the over. And it really happens more in the smaller conferences where there's a lot of value in the under. A large percentage of my picks in college football are on the under, and a disproportionate number of them are in the smaller conferences, the non-Power 5 conferences. And I think that's because the odds makers know that the public just tends to overreact merely to the pure statistics and points per game that they've scored and points that they've given up. But they also apply in the bigger conferences as well.
I'll bring this to Joe Duffy. It looked like NBA's talking about a January return. Hockey could be end of the year. College basketball, late November. So there may be a lot of focus on some of these late October, early November college football games and even these smaller conferences. So we may start seeing some of the public gravitate to some of these small conferences this year. What do you think?
I sure as heck hope so because they can come to me for the winners at Picks Dogs. But, yeah, this year is unlike any other. I can't even predict what next week is going to be like as far as the sports landscape. I know the NHL said they're going to try to get in the full season. The NBA, obviously, they're going to have to start later. How much later? And, of course, all the stuff they negotiated a couple of years ago where they weren't playing anymore, these not that many 3 games in 4 nights and 5 games in 7 nights. I guess they're going to have to resume doing it for another year to try to get in a full season next year, probably in a condensed calendar. But, yeah, it's not like the craziest is behind us. It's still ahead of us.
Absolutely. And speaking of crazy, Joe Duffy, you're going to be looking at an NFL game here with 2 defenses that have given up a lot of yards. That's Dallas and Seattle. And we're looking at the line right now with Seattle favored at home by 5. Total sits here at 57.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, way back before the internet, I used to like to kind of watch that show on Sunday mornings where a big group in Joey D's hometown, they would buy time on the USA Network. And really one of their better handicappers, he used to say almost every week that you should set the line the week before the game and only when it comes to injuries because the public is always going to overreact and the odds makers accordingly are going to overreact to the previous week's results. Now, this game opened up at Seattle 3, although minus 116, so really more of 3.5, which there is a big difference, as Joey D said, on a half a point, especially when you're going off of the key number of 3. But it opened up basically 3 to 3.5, and it's already up to 5. Now, there are some injuries, obviously, for both teams, and both of them are on the defensive side of the ball, which I know to the public's probably going to make that the over that much more appealing. But still, I think this line is a little bit too high. Yeah, Seattle did go down to literally the last play with that goal line stand against New England. Still, they were much more impressive looking than Dallas was last week in what will go down as one of the wildest games in NFL history. So I think there was a little bit of an adjustment for that. Now, the Cowboys, I will say this, the Cowboys are off of that stunning come-from-behind victory. When you do have an underdog of 4.5 or more off of a comeback win, which they trail by at least 17 points, they're a go-against of 18-8. And go against of 12-4 since 2006. That does say to fade Dallas or, of course, to go with Seattle. Doesn't necessarily mean, though, that's going to be my picks. I have an anti-splits angle that crosses sports. And again, I know the teams have only played 2 games. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But essentially, when you have a road team that has been much better at home than they are on the road, well, Dallas won their only home game. They lost their only road game. They're actually a good bet on the road at 185, 129, and 8. And, of course, the obvious is, well, wait a minute. They played 1 game at home, 1 game on the road. But NFL is about overreaction. And in the first 4 weeks of the year, or more accurately, would only apply it in weeks 3 and 4. That angle is even better at 73 and 43 for 62.9%. So again, going with Dallas in this situation. The public betting, again, the kind of the contrarian and the sharp stuff. Public betting says, although 55% of the bets are on Seattle, 84% of the money is on Dallas, which a lot of people say that indicates the is on the Cowboys. And of course, the weapon that I kind of added this year, been looking at it for years, but finally said, look, I definitely want these 3 power ratings and simulators. The best power ratings anywhere say that Seattle should be a 2.5-point favorite, and they're projected to win 27-24. As far as computer simulations, one of our best models, I do 10,000 simulations. I found Dallas covering at a modest 52% of the time, but still, again, this is more cooperating data. And another model at Dallas covering 56% of the time at 4.5. And although they are covering the same percentage at 5, the probability of a push goes up to 2%. And, Seattle, they're known as a great home team. But again, the odds makers have to know the public perception. Seattle's only 3-7, their last 10 at home. So a lot of things are pointing, my computer systems. I think the fact that the odds makers are clearly overadjusting here. My power ratings all say that Dallas is great value here. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys. Plus, remember that Dallas, they showed last week they are a very good team playing from behind, and that says the back door may be wide open.
All right. Joe Duffy says take the Cowboys plus the points. Joe D'Amico, with we're seeing limited fans in some of these stadiums, and we've noticed a lot of the overs coming in Vegas. So it's interesting to see how the Vegas bookmakers are adjusting their lines for home field advantage this season.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think we spoke just before the season started, and I had mentioned that, in this pro football in the NFL, that because there aren't stands in the fans, traditionally you got to look at travel. Teams have to travel, sometimes across the coast, sometimes play a Monday night to a Sunday morning on a short week. But usually your facilities aren't as good. Obviously, when you're going up to the line, it's deafening. When the home team is at the line, you can hear a pin drop. With this year, I think that at the Cowboy game about a week ago, we saw the largest attendance, 20 to 25,000. Home team makes a difference because you don't have to travel. I don't say so much that you don't have to worry about climate. You're more used to it, but some of these guys now, as opposed to years ago, I think it's a little less relevant now with the climate. But some teams are better in certain weather and play better in certain weather. Obviously, when you're going into Denver, it means a lot. But I think home team means a lot. I myself usually give a team in the NFL 3 to 4 to 4.5 to 5 points for playing at home. This year, I'm giving them 2 points. I think that the fans in the stands make it a lot differently. And I'll tell you what, some of these fans, some of these stadiums want to put dummies in the stands. But I'll tell you what, they've been doing that in some of these stadiums for years, and nobody's noticed. It hasn't made a difference. I think that being at home plays a difference because you don't have to travel. But I do think it's not as much point-wise to someone like myself. I don't know how Joe feels about it. He's been doing this for a lot longer than I am. I know he looks at a lot of stats and a lot of angles. But I don't think that home field plays as much a part this year in the NFL as it usually does.
Joe Duffy, I would say probably the road offense, being able to hear the snap counts from the receivers and the offensive line. Usually in these loud crowds, these receivers are slow into their patterns. That means that the pass rush is more fierce on the opposing quarterbacks. How do you see it?
You are 100% right, Tony T. Yeah, obviously, you don't have to have the quarterbacks calling audibles this year the way they would in previous years. And even sometimes, at home, the crowd, when the home team does have the ball, the crowd can be pretty raucous. And even, the home guy has to call some audibles, but you don't have to do any of the hand signals. And I would add on top of that, I think for the most part, defense feeds more on emotion, where the offense more on precision. So I do think that if the crowd noise is going to fire up one side of the ball more than the other, it's usually the defense more so than the offense. So I do think that's another kind of intangible reason why games could be a little bit higher scoring, because I don't think those defenses really can feed off of the crowd energy the way they have in the past.
All right, Joe Duffy joined us here on the drive-through. Joe, I see you over at Pig Dogs. Really good numbers up there. What do you have going as we move toward the bottom of the hour?
Yeah, we do have the college football up for tonight, some baseball as well. Unfortunately, one of my plays that I had marked early in the week, the Tulsa game was canceled, but I will have, I think, at least 3 college football for tomorrow, looking at some other, and NFL, going to be a huge NFL Sunday.
Absolutely huge NFL Sunday. Joe, have a great week. It's always great having your show. Win those picks, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, gentlemen, we shall.
All right, Joe Duffy joined us here on the drive-thru. Guys, still a lot more picks coming. We got that big NBA pick coming from the Celtics and Heat. We got some hockey as well as more football, some baseball. I want to take a look here at this Middle Tennessee State UTSA game. This one, a college football for tonight, and we've seen a line move here in this one. MTSU, the dog here, UTSA opened at 7, now down to 5.5. The total sits here at 58.5. And how I looked at this game is I looked at the Roadrunners offense. They've shown very good ability moving the football, and I would lay the 5.5 here. They posted 505 yards to Texas State on the road in that 3-point overtime win, and their quarterback Frank Harris completed nearly 69% of his passes. But Middle Tennessee State has just looked like a doormat this year. Their offense has been poor. Only 241 yards against Army. 184 yards in their game against Troy last week, and they're averaging only 7 points a game, and defensively they've not looked good. I'm going to go ahead and I would lean this one UTSA minus 5.5. Well, we do have some small college football, small market college football, but it's tough when they're going up against that NBA game.
It is funny, Tony. I'll be honest with you, Tony. Now, let me ask you this. I usually ask some of the other guys on the panel. You said you like this game at 5.5. Do you like it even more that you're going against the grain and that most of the general public bet this game down? Is that something that plays a part when you're looking at a game?
I had handicapped the game, and I just see Middle Tennessee State as a doormat this year. I don't see them competing. And again, I think there are people out there looking at the value side. I'm not going to lay UTSA in this one, but what I've seen from Middle Tennessee State is not really good football. And when you look at the Roadrunners, their experience on offense, their quarterback, running backs, and key receivers all back, Middle Tennessee State is not executing very well. And I'm just looking here at a team in UTSA that has experience, and against an MTSU team that is they lack experience on defense. They're giving up 47 points a game. Looking at this one, I'd definitely have to take the Roadrunners in this one. All right, guys, this is the drive-through, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Still a lot of picks coming, and it's now it's now time for Joe D'Amico to take center stage here as he's ready, and he's ready, and he's ready going to look at this rivalry game. I like this one here. It's the one on ABC. It's the big one on Saturday. We've got Miami of Florida hosting Florida State, and right now we're seeing Miami here, the home team, favorite 11. Total sits here at 53. What say you, Joe D'Amico, in this one?
Well, Tony, I want to say, first of all, I want to address our audience. Sports fans, after about a month or so, I finally had a poor free game contribution on the show on Friday. So I went 1-2 with my free games on Friday. I'm still on a 12-4 free game run right here on the 3 p.m. Pick Dog Show. Today, I've got 3 big winners. We're going to do my college football, then I got a couple of pros. But I did look at this game early this week. Tony, not only do I look at games earlier on the week and through the week for lines and line movers, but I have to do a couple of columns at the beginning of the week, Monday and Tuesday, and some national columns, and I have to look at college football. And this game stood out to me right away, and I actually wrote it up in a couple of columns. I want to talk about the Florida State-Miami game, as you mentioned. Guys, Miami off to a 2-0 start, both straight up and against the spread. Decisive victories over UAB and Louisville. 2 strong squads. Offensive coordinator Rhett Lashley, by the way, I love that guy's name. Have you seen this guy? He looks just like his name. I'm going to name my next born after him because Rhett Lashley D'Amico has a wonderful ring to it. Guys, Rhett Lashley has the offense running very smoothly, folks. Houston transfer quarterback De'Ara King, he's a stud. The combination of him and running back Cameron Harris, they are an explosive 1-2 punch that has brought an enormous amount of excitement back to this offensive squad, folks. Falling from grace, obviously, the last few seasons. Florida State has a lot on their plate this year. Going back to last year, the Seminoles have dropped 3 in a row straight up. And, guys, they just don't possess the playmakers anymore. I mean, they average a mere 14.6 points per game during these 3-game slide that they're currently on. And to add to their distractions, head coach Mike Norvell, guys, he's going to be sidelined here. I should say he's not even on the sidelines. He's out with the coronavirus. My prayers go to him and his family, but he is out. This team has committed to a lot of distractions already. Him not being on the sideline is going to be another distraction. The Hurricanes have taken the last 3 meetings in the series straight up, going 2-1 against the spread. All these are against the spread. They are 4-1 the last 5 in the conference, 14-6 the last 20 in the month of September. The Hurricanes start fast. Seminoles 7-15-3 the last 25 in conference play. 3-8-2 the last 13 in the month of September. If you take Miami here, guys, you will take your bookmakers' money. This is a rivalry game, as Tony mentioned, and I will tell you this. This is a big chance for Miami, Florida, to maybe make a good jump in the polls here. We'll talk about the polls a little bit later on, but this is a chance for them to make a good jump in the polls, or at least solidify their ranking in the polls with a solid showing. Miami Hurricanes -11, get you paid.
All right, that's Joe D'Amico here on the drive-through, taking the home favorite here with Miami. One thing to note here, Joe, with this Miami team, I like they're an up-tempo offense, so that definitely helps. More possessions on the field. That means Florida State's defense will be on the field a little bit longer because if you notice, a big difference, a big change in this Miami team has been their offense that has been kind of tailored for the transfer king from Houston.
Absolutely. Like I said, there's a lot of excitement to this team. They've got a lot of playmakers on their team. They got a coach that wants to win. They prep pretty well. The reports were that they practiced well. This crazy off season, they practiced well, and they got their act together. And I'm looking for them to make a splash this year. I don't think they're a national title contender, but I think they're a very good team that's going to be able to get us paid throughout the season, particularly tomorrow, Tony.
And one thing that's also promising is they are getting production from their run game. So when you have that up-tempo offense and the run game comes in, look out. I mean, look out. You can look for some good things in Miami when you got both of those things going for you in an up-tempo offense.
Absolutely. Like I said, this is a game that earlier on the week on Monday I had to look at games for a column that I had to write on Monday, and this is one of the 4 or 5 games that really stood out to me right away. The line is where it was at the beginning of the week. I still like it. I liked it on Monday. I like it. Today is Friday. I'm going to like it tomorrow and Saturday. Trust me.
All right, Joe D'Amico says take Miami -11. All right, guys, this is the drive-through, 6 p.m. Eastern time. A lot more picks coming. By the way, if you just joined the show, we recap all the picks at the end of the show, guys, so stay tuned. And we got a lot of picks coming. We've got NFL. We've got that big game between Miami and the Boston Celtics. We have that coming in as well, the hockey game and more, so stay tuned. I'm going to take a look here at this Cub and White Sox game that begins. Both teams kind of jockeying for seeding here, 8 Eastern time. Darvish against Cease, Dylan Cease, about $1.70. Total sits here at 8. And I'm going to look here at under 8, going to make a case for that here. Yu Darvish on the hill, the veterans ERA 2.35, whip of 1. I like the whip. I like the low whips. That means you're not allowing a lot of base runners. You're not going to have those crooked innings go against you. But he's pitching to a White Sox lineup that's hitting only 186 the past 7 games, really struggling for runs. Cease, solid ERA at home, 1.77, but the Cubs lineup only hitting 150 the past 7 games, 1.4 runs per game. I like the Cubs and White Sox to go under the total. Joe, as we're getting close to the end of the regular season here, it's a quick turnaround for these teams because Tuesdays the playoff begins.
Oh, absolutely. I will say this, Tony. We played 60 games in the regular season here. Obviously, we usually play 162. But if it, I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like this 60-game shortened season took forever to play. But now the playoffs are here. It's a very exciting time. And by the way, I want you to know, sports fans, Tony likes to whip in that game. Myself and Robert Kraft, we love to be whipped, but we pay extra here in Vegas and down in Florida for that. Want everybody to know that.
All right, thank you very much for Joe. But remember, charges have been dropped, by the way. They have been dropped. But I don't know what else dropped, but that dropped.
Pants dropped is what dropped.
That's exactly what happened. All right, Joe D'Amico joining me here on the drive-thru, guys. A lot more picks coming. We got a ton of cappers ready to go with some plays. Let's keep the ball rolling here. And we're on the fast-paced offense right now. Let's welcome to the show Chris Ruffalo. You'll hear him on the morning show. Chris, how you doing?
You just had to make a Robert Kraft reference, knowing the game that I'm about to cover, didn't you?
We absolutely did.
You can't talk about being whipped without talking about Robert Kraft.
I thought there was going to be a talk about Kraft cheese, maybe a grilled cheese, on toast.
That's funny.
Sorry, I lost focus for a second. What were you saying? I completely blanked there for a second. I heard grilled cheese in my mind.
Yeah, I said Kraft singles. Kraft singles.
Chris loves to say it when we talked about being whipped. Now we know what he's into.
Don't threaten me with a good time. You know this, Joe. Don't threaten me with a good time. Okay?
You can get some nice whipped cream on top of that toast, and then you've got yourself a Kraft single in that cheese. So there you go.
Oh,
you got it going.
Tony's just throwing the smorgasbord at everyone and seeing what sticks today, man. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. It's a Friday, guys. It's a Friday, and of course, we got a lot of football on Friday. Football is on the mind, guys. A lot of picks coming. So let's get it started here. We got Las Vegas Raiders, Chris, heading back east to face New England Patriots. And in this one, we see New England favored here. It opened at about a touchdown. It's now about 5.5. Total sits here at 47. Vegas on the short week after that win against the Saints. I would say it's an emotional win, but there wasn't any fans in the stadium, so I don't think their emotions got lifted. But here's an interesting situation here on a short week with the Raiders and Patriots.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little short story. Before I started writing here, and even up to now, I'm still a Patriots fan. But if you had said to me 4 years ago, before I started writing with Pick Dogs and Sports Chat Plays, I would have told you every single week I will take the Patriots. It doesn't matter. I thought with my head. I thought with my heart, not with my head, and it was just a mess. Now I'm starting to think with my head, and it doesn't matter. I'm still on New England this week. You can go with the basic angle of huge win for the Raiders against the Saints. Open up their new stadium with a big win, but now they're on a letdown spot, cross country flight. They have to play a New England team. It's a little bit pissed off that they couldn't punch it in on 4th and goal at the 1 yard line. I mean, in reality, the play call, you can't really fault it. I mean, I think I read somewhere in his career, in Cam Newton's career, 4th and goal to go from the 1 yard line, 16 times out of 20, that ball's ending up in the end zone. See, I mean, that's more about a great play from the Seattle defense. But I'm digressing here. As far as the Raiders go, they went into week 2 banged up, and now they have to go without Richie Incognito, who's questionable with an Achilles injury. It could be without Sam Young as well. That's a huge part of their offensive line gone. And when you look at them running 60% of their offense through Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller, then the running back and the tight end are two of the top positions that the New England defense can take away. They gave up 430 yards of defense to Seattle, but the Patriots did a good job of stopping Chris Carson. He only ran for 4.2 yards per carry, and the Seattle tight ends only were targeted twice in that game. I just see this one being a typical New England home game where they can win this one, and then they dish the Raiders a reality check. They win this one by a couple touchdowns.
All right, Chris Ruffalo, you'll hear him on the morning show at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time with Mitch and company. Joe, we've seen it again. We saw it last week with money on the Raiders, and we're seeing money on the Raiders here at open to 7. I saw 7 when it came out. And everyone says, "Oh, it's a tough spot." But what's going on? Are we seeing some Vegas sharps on Raiders, or will we see the public on the Raiders again?
I think you're seeing the public on the Raiders. I'll be honest with you. I agree with Chris on many points that he's made. I agree with him a lot. He's a great capper. This is the second time in a few weeks that the Raiders have to travel to the East Coast. Second time. I will be honest with you. They're the new team. They're the new team. They got the $100 million coach. They got the new stadium. They're in Sin City. This is the new team, the excited team. I believe Dana or Mitch said a few weeks back. Last year it was the Browns, or a few years ago it was the Browns. Every year there's an it team. The Raiders are the it team this year. I will tell you this. I think they played above themselves the last few weeks. I do agree with Chris on a lot of points. They got to go back over there. But I got to tell you, man, Chris is right. They haven't really played a superb defense yet. They're going to play a team. And that really, and on top of everything else, the hoodie does not like to lose, and he is excellent at bouncing back after a loss. And, I think that you will see Raider money come in. They are the it team. A couple of years ago, always Browns money come in at the beginning of the season. They fell flat on their faces. It's going to happen. There's an it team every season in the NFL. This season, it's the Raiders, Tony.
Yeah, I know. Chris, one thing that I took from the Raiders was that week one game when they went into Carolina and they allowed Carolina to move the football all over the field against them. Now, you can make an argument about the Saints with Drew Brees, doesn't have the arm strength to go downfield. So it's like every team, it's almost like red zone defense each time because he can't throw it deep. So it's a little different situation here with Cam because you have the run factor into it. But what did you take from that Carolina Raider game? And I'm kind of with you there with the Patriots side. I'm concerned with that Raider defense.
Well, if I could make 1 point back to the Browns, that it team thing went down. The volume went down on the it team because you put in front of it, and then they became the team. But that's another point for another day. As far as that Raiders game goes, you still saw Teddy Bridgewater. He was able to use his legs to move the pocket and move the ball downfield using his legs when his arm wasn't readily available or he didn't have a receiver available to throw the ball to. And look what happened. That was a game that hit 64 points, and I think the Panthers still covered that game. It might be a glaring weakness in the Raiders defense. In years past, it's been the secondary, where you could throw for 500 yards on the Raiders, and now it looks to be that maybe it's that they can't go keep up with dual threat mobile quarterbacks. It's sometimes the way your player development evolves, good or bad, or sometimes it's with a coaching change. Sometimes it could be with a change of environment, like you're seeing from Oakland to Vegas. It's hard to say, but that's what I really took from week one against the Panthers was that this could be a team that you can run the ball on if you have a mobile quarterback.
All right, that's Chris Ruffalo here on the drive-thru. Chris, we see your numbers over at Pick Dogs. You're doing fantastic work. Really good numbers from the NBA. As we just passed the bottom of the hour here, what do you have going on over at Pick Dogs?
Well, I still have my free-for-all Friday going up. I think it's going off the top of the hour, but what have I done all week? I've had a special combo pack for everybody that's been watching this drive-thru show. So for tonight, you're going to get a number 4 combo. You're going to get a 4-pack on my top plays for the night. You're going to get the college football play in there. You're going to get the play from the NBA in there. You're going to get 2 of my best MLB plays for the night. I'm going to put up there for $25. I am not leaving with anything but a 4-0 record tonight.
All right, that's from Chris Ruffalo. Chris, check him out over at the Pick Dogs Premium page, and then you listen to him tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Chris, is always great having your show. Have a great night, and we'll be watching and listening with you and Mitch this weekend. A lot of weekend coverage.
Gentlemen, enjoy your weekend. Have a good one.
All right, our buddy Chris Ruffalo here on the drive-thru. All right, joined here with Joe D'Amico. We still have a lot to go over, guys. NFL picks. We got that Celtics and Heat pick coming, and a lot more as we move to the top of the hour. Joe, I know there's a game you're going to look at here with this from the NFL. Rams at the Bills. It's an interesting one here. Rams on the East Coast in back-to-back weeks. Buffalo open 3. They're about 2. Did I see a 1 going someplace? Oh, my goodness. We're seeing some Ram money come in here in some spots. Total sits here at 47. Will the word get out on your pick, Joe? How do you see this? How do you see this one?
Well, I'll tell you what, Tony, this is a game that right away sprung out to me. 2-0 teams from opposite coast square, all fear both. I'm going to keep this, by the way, just like me, short and sweet, because I want to tell everybody what I've got going on Saturday and Sunday. Best card I've had literally in years. But let's talk about this Rams. 2-0 teams from opposite coast square, all fear. Both squads seem to be on the rise. Guys, I've been hearing since the beginning of last weekend about this matchup. I wouldn't put too much stock in the fact that LA is traveling through several time zones playing early here. Here's what I looked up. I looked it up twice. I looked it up 3 times to make sure it was correct. Sean McVay's Rams are 7-0. Both straight up and against the spread the last 3 years. I'm doing just that. Traveling across the country and playing early. 7-0. They also possess a defense that held Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz in check so far. The Bills are a good team. I like the Bills. I think they're a good team. I think they're a team on the rise. But they have had issues defensively with offenses that pass off the run. Enter the Rams, Goff, Kupp, Woods, Brown, Henderson Jr. The Bills will come down to earth here, guys. They're a good team. They're not a great team. They're not an NFL elite. I'm not saying the Rams are, but the Rams are certainly matched up well here. Los Angeles 4-0, the last 4 as a road underdog, 9-2 the last 11 overall on the road, and 5-1 the last 6 in the month of September. Get on the Rams and get paid. I actually played them early on the money line, and then I put some money taking the points. It's a smart move, but I really do think they win outright here, guys.
All right, Joe D'Amico says take the Rams in this one. Joe, you've been great here on the show. We see you over at Pick Dogs. You got some great numbers. What do you got going on as we hit the bottom of the hour over at Pick Dogs Premium?
Tony, if I was any happier, I'd be Robert Kraft inside of a massage parlor right now. Tonight, I've got one game remaining with my NBA, in the NBA with my Heat Celtics Game 5 winner. I will have up, sports fans, as the most decorated and acclaimed MLB postseason capper in the history of this business. I will have up a Major League Baseball postseason package by this weekend. It'll pay for itself in no time. But, and this but is bigger than Oprah's butt. Guys, my football big games are unrivaled right now, and I have my most explosive football slate in over a year and a half. Saturday, the best big game hunter on the planet has his first college football game of the month in my Big 12 game of the month. I also have my coveted 46-16 Las Vegas strip move. You get on that game, you'll be on the same information as some of the sharpest guys in Vegas. Sunday, I will crush your bookie. I have my 17-4 bookie buster, my touchdown, and my gridiron plays that are both already 1-0 this season. Guys, I have a 3-game discounted package in the NFL, and I've got a 5-game combo package, discounted package, college and pro football. Just in case you're keeping score, my packages, my multi-game package in college and pro football this season are 3-1. If you go and get my weekend football winners right now at Pick Dogs, right after you buy them, you can book a first-class trip anywhere in the world and not worry, because this card will pay for it. Follow me this weekend, or I promise you, you will hate yourself on Monday. This will be the most explosive weekend you've ever had in football, because I'm going to sweep the board again, guys.
All right, you see the numbers up at Pig Dogs Premium. Check them out. Joe D'Amico, this weekend's football package. Get on board, guys. All right, drive through 6 p.m. each time, Monday through Friday. A lot more picks coming. And by the way, if you just joined us, we will recap all the picks that you heard from the show at the end of the show, so make sure you stay tuned. All right, let's continue as we've got some hockey. We're going to the ice, and we'd like to welcome to the show Rod Zawacki. You can hear him. In the mornings at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time with Mitch and Company. Rod, how you doing today?
I'm doing good.
All right. Of course, we're keeping tabs of this baseball. I know we're looking here at Milwaukee up 3-0, game 1 of a doubleheader, but we got some desperate times here for some of these teams as we get down to the end of the regular season.
Yeah, we do. Giants being another team that's be fighting here tonight, later on in their 2 games as well.
Absolutely. All right. Rod, you're going to be taking a look at the NHL Stanley Cup final here, Tampa Bay and Dallas. With the Lightning favorite, we're seeing them anywhere between $1.55 in most places in this one. Let's take a look at the total in this game as we're looking at the Stanley Cup finals between Tampa Bay and Dallas that will start at 8 Eastern time. It's now at 5 and it's juiced up. How do you see this one?
For me in this game here, definitely don't count out these Stars yet. The Stars off a loss this year's playoffs. They are 5-1 after losing after having a loss. For me, the Stars here, they're going to come back and play gritty Stars hockey and play a nice defensive style. I think for me that over, I did like the over because we've seen 5 goals in the first 3 games of the series. And for me, I think Dallas Stars hockey wins by lower scoring hockey. And for me, I'm taking the Dallas Stars to even the series up at 2 and take the under. I think we get about a 2-1, 3-1 final here tonight in this game.
All right, that's Rod Zawacki says take the Stars at plus 140. He's leaning toward the under. How do you see this series playing out if you're down 2-1 and you see an even spot? Do you see Dallas here with a possibility of hoisting the cup?
For me, this is the biggest game in Dallas's season. If they don't come back, if they don't tie this game up, then they're done. You know what I mean? Down 3-1, it's really tough to come back in the Stanley Cup final down 3-1. And have we ever seen it? Maybe once. Most of the time, down 3-1, you're done. You're written off. So I think Dallas comes out here with their best effort, and when it's tied, it's back to it'll be the best of 3. First team to win 2. It's like a new series. You can wipe the first 4 off the board and start all over.
You know, Joe, in Vegas.
For me, I still see that. I still see this series going 7. I think we're in for a long series still.
I hope so. That'd be really exciting. Joe, I know Vegas, the Golden Knights brought a lot of excitement into Las Vegas with hockey, and I do know some fans that are still following the Stanley Cup Finals, and I think hockey is competing for TV space up in those sports books.
I'll tell you what, Vegas, as hot as it is, and we're getting it's third week of September, we're still getting over 100 degrees. This is an ice hockey town, and it is all because of the Vegas Golden Knights. I give them a lot of credit, guys. They've done quite a bit for this city. They put Vegas on the map. I'll be honest, I'm here 30 years. I'm visiting another 10. When I first moved here, the Runnin' Rebels with Larry Johnson were the best college basketball team in the country, and it's still my opinion, not because I live here, still the best college basketball team of all time. And this was a crazy, hectic town. Within a few years, they weren't winning. We have UNLV football. We have minor league baseball. And then when we got the hockey, then we got the college, got the hockey, we got the minor league baseball. Now we've got the Raiders. This is a sports town, but let me tell you, the Vegas Golden Knights led the way, and I give them a lot of credit. And a lot of people said you couldn't get hockey going in a town that's 120 degrees all summer long, but it does not matter. The ice stays nice and cold inside the T-Mobile, and the people they love betting on the Golden Knights. Let me tell you, the Vegas Golden Knights get a lot of action all year round, particularly from those who live here in Vegas. But they become a fan favorite because they're winning. I mean, 3 seasons now, they've had winning seasons. So my hat's off to them. I'm very happy for anything that promotes Las Vegas, especially our Vegas Golden Knights. Rod, on a side note, I have to tell you, I'm looking at you with the Miami Dolphins hat. I'm going to send you a Chargers hat, an old one, because with the beard, you look like Dan Fouts a little bit. I want to see you in the Chargers hat with his number on. I'm going to start telling everybody we got Dan Fouts on the show.
There's a name for the past, Dan Fouts. That's right.
Dan Fouts. Yeah.
That's right. Well, your Miami team got the job done last night. Of course, we've talked about this angle with these 0-2 teams covering 22 of the last. Now it's 23 of the last 30. These 0-2 teams covering the spread.
Yep, exactly right. That's NFL though. It's like anything. You can't, just because you're 0-2, you can't count the team out. Teams down 0-2, you get a little more heart and drive, and you're like, yeah, I'm not going 0-3. Have a look at that 0-3 record of making the playoffs in the NFL. I don't think it's very good.
Yeah, and then you look at the strength of competition here with the Dolphins facing the Bills and the Patriots to start the season. Yeah, that was a really tough test for them.
They had tough 2 tests for them, and then to play Jacksonville. And yes, Jacksonville, I think, played way above their expectations the first couple of weeks as well, right? And they came back crashing down to earth last night. That's for sure. They
sure did. All right, Rod, we see a top leaderboards, Pick Dogs over NBA. So you're having a fantastic year there. As we approach the top of the hour, what do you have going on over at Pick Dogs Premium?
For me, I've got kickoff the weekend package. I got 3 of my top MLB plays in there. I've got 2 MLB plays in there, or 2 NBA plays in there, the side and the total. Love tonight's NBA game. I've got 1 NHL play in there and 1 college football play. You can get them all now, $29.99. Kick off the weekend.
That's right. Kick off the weekend in style. Win some money this week. Rod Zawacki, he's doing fantastic work. You listen to him. We'll listen to him every day over at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time on this Pick Dog and Sports Chat Place YouTube channel on the morning show. And they'll have a lot of coverage here for you on Saturday leading up to the kickoffs in college football. A lot of picks. And, of course, the NFL show on Sunday is really good. All right, Rod, it's always great having your show. Get some rest because I know you're up early for a big show tomorrow.
Big show tomorrow. You bet. Everybody have yourself a good night. Also, take Tyler Seguin to score the first goal in tonight's hockey game. Plus 1,100.
There you go. Nice little prop.
That line for the Dallas Stars is going to come out fighting. They haven't scored a point or a goal yet in this series, and tonight's the night.
All right, the pressure on those Dallas Stars. All right, Rod, have a good night. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a good night.
Good night, Ronnie.
All right, everybody, Rod here on the drive-thru. Guys, still a lot more picks coming. We've got some that Celtics Heat pick coming up. We've got some more baseball. We got college football, so still a lot more picks coming up, and an NFL as well. And don't forget, if you missed any of the picks, end of the show, we will recap every pick from the show today. So, guys, stay tuned for that. Now, Joe, let's take a look at this NFL one. Interesting matchup. We have one of those desperate 0-2 teams in action. They're the home team. It's the Bears at the Falcons. Atlanta favored 3. Total sits here at 47 in this one.
Well, guys, I want to tell you, every time I go against the Bears, I catch it from my wife and her entire Chicago-born family. This week is no different. And all of you that are married, you know that annoying your in-laws is one of life's little pleasures. And I'm going to tell you right now, my wife and her family are in for a very long weekend, and so is the entire city of Chicago. These two teams, as you know, own mirror image records, but in all honesty, the Bears have played far inferior foes. They went up against the Lions and the Giants. Falcons had to go up against the Seahawks and the Cowboys. Trubisky and the very pedestrian Chicago offense. Guys, they only post 21 a game against the Lions and the Giants. This is not a very good offense. It's certainly not an explosive offense. They cannot go score for score with the high-flying Atlanta offensive squad, Matt Ryan and the crew. They account for over 32 a game this year. I'm going to tell you right now, here's some against the spread numbers. Bears 1-6 the last 7 on the road. Not a good road team. 2-6 the last 8 versus NFC opponents. 1-4 the last 5 overall. The Falcons 4-1 the last 5 following a straight-up loss. I love to see stats when teams bounce back after a loss, and the Falcons are a very good team at covering after a straight-up loss. They're also 4-1 the last 5 versus NFC opponents. 5-1 the last 6 overall. You be at Atlanta, you'll be a winner, and you can trust me. You bet Atlanta, you'll be aggravating my in-laws. You'll be doing me a big favor.
All right, that's Joe D'Amico. Joe, once again, what's up at Pick Dogs for your football weekend?
Oh, my God. I got more things on the board this weekend, my friend. I've got a big package going. Hold on a second. I've got a 3-game package in the NFL. I got a 5-game package, including my Big 12 game of the month, the best big game capper on the planet, man. Everybody knows when it comes to games of the month, you can bank on Joe D'Amico. I've got 2 Saturday winners. I got 3 Sunday winners. I got a 5-game package. My multi-game packages, Tony, this football season, 3-1. You get one of these packages, it'll pay for itself. Trust me, you'll name your next born after me. It's going to be a great weekend this weekend, Tony.
It will be. Joe D'Amico doing well over at great numbers up at Pick Dogs. Check him out. Pick up his football package this weekend. Make some money. All right, let's continue here on the drive-through. It's time to look at this big one, the NBA, Celtics and Heat. We got Brian Bittler on the show. Brian, how you doing?
Oh, what an awesome day. Glad to be here with the living legend, Joe D'Amico. The guy's like the Ric Flair of handicapping. Ric Flair won championships. Joe D'Amico wins handicapping championships.
Oh, I love you, Brian. God bless you all.
Absolutely. Great work. All right, Brian, before we get to the NBA game, just want to get your thoughts on this Lakers-Nuggets series that we saw yesterday. It landed on 6. And Joe told you if you're in an area where there's a lot of Laker action, you could have got 6.5 at close in Vegas.
I tell you what, the only place I saw 6.5, I forget what it was called. I forget the name of the sport. It was 6.5 out there. I got in at 6, so I pushed. But overall, lately I've been heating up in the NBA, and the series we're about to start with, the Celtics and the Heat, I lost the first game, but after that, right on point.
Absolutely. All right, Brian, we got it. Here we go. Miami, Boston. Miami up 3-1 in this series. Boston favorite. They continue to be favorite. We're seeing 3s. There are some 3.5s in some places. You're going to have to shop around, but there's more 3s out there. Total sits here at 213. Of course, Boston's had some trouble in the end games here. Will this swing the other way? How do you see this one?
Boy, I cashed pretty easy with the Miami Heat in the last matchup, but I really feel like this will be like the one that the Celtics covered. I think the refs are going to, really heavily whistle the Heat. I think they're going to do everything they can to get another game out of this series. I really see Boston being up by 15 to 20 points at halftime and then playing off that lead till the end of the game and barely getting by with a 7-point win, but Celtics cover. Look for Kemba Walker to get the first bucket also.
All right, Joe. Brian Bittler says take the Boston Celtics here in this one. Joe, I'd like to get your thoughts here on this Boston and Miami Heat series. The Heat so far winning three of the first 4.
Well, yeah, the Heat, we said this over the last few weeks on the show, very little pressure on them because nobody expected them to be here. I think there's more pressure on the Celtics, but the Celtics certainly have the more cream of the crop and a little more experience right now. And I will never go against Brian because he is just red hot. And not just in basketball, guys, football, baseball, he's been red hot. He's been on top of the leaderboard for months now, and because I follow him. I look at the leaderboards. I'm interested. I'm an egomaniac. I want to see where I am. And this son of a gun's always on top. He's driving me crazy. But follow him. I agree with him. A lot of points he has, and he does have a good point when he says, the refs would like to drag out this series. It's the best for the sport. It's the best for the TV. It's the best for the revenue. And why not? Why not? It's a good series, and we always see a little more physicality in the Eastern Conference. We're going to see it again tonight, but like Brian said, look for the refs to call that stuff to stretch this series. It's a great point. And sports fans, those are the angles that you come to a person like Brian Bittler for, because the general public are not thinking that. They're looking at the X's and O's, and that's really it. They're looking at the box scores, and that's it. Guy like Brian could point that out for you. Stay with Brian tonight, man. He'll make you money.
All right, that's Joe D'Amico, and of course we're joined here with Brian Bittler, and of course, Brian, the series is 3-1. Do you see any type of? I know you like Boston in this one, so you would think it'd be 3-2, but do you see any shot here for Boston maybe forcing a seventh game here in this series?
Honestly, I think the Heat are just the better team. They're better coached. In this matchup, in Game 5, I see the Celtics winning, but I think Game 6 might be the end of the road for the Boston Celtics. I really like this Miami Heat team to maybe even win the NBA championship because they just got it going on right now. They're on fire.
Yeah, no doubt about that. They are on fire. All right, Brian, we're seeing you over at Pick Dogs Premium. It's a big weekend card. College football, NFL, basketball, baseball mixed in. What do you have going over at Pick Dogs Premium as you're ready to make some dough?
I'll tell you, like Joe had said, the NFL card this weekend has a lot of profit in it, man. I cannot wait to get to the NFL college football awesome Saturday. But what I got is a special deal going on right now. You get my 3-day pass, which is all my plays on the night, all my college football, all my NFL, all for $59.95. PickDogs.com premium pick section. Grab that 3-day pass. You're going to get monster football weekend. Last year, 57% on the season in college football. One of the top handicappers are on various networks. Pick that up. You will not be sorry.
All right, guys, check him out. Brian Bittler over at Pig Dogs Premium. Make some money this weekend and get Brian's premium plays. Brian, is always great having your show. Have a great week, but we'll also listen for you this weekend as you're on the morning show, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time with Mitch and company, breaking down the cards from college football on Saturday as well as the NFL Sunday. You got a lot of work to do.
Yep, I got to get to work right now because I got an early college football show with Mitch. And you know what? He expects perfection, so I got to get on it right now.
He definitely does. All right, Brian, have a good night.
Good luck, Brian. Go get it.
All right, that was our buddy here, Brian Bittler here taking the Celtics here in this one. All right, continuing here on the drive. There's still more picks coming, guys. We got college football. We'll throw a baseball in there as well. And don't forget, we're going to recap the picks at the end of the show. So all the picks you heard on the show, we're going to recap. So make sure you stay tuned for that as we head to the top of the hour. But Joe, I know you've done some research in the SEC as the SEC starts to kick off action on Saturday. They're going to play a conference schedule for this year. So what do you got for us from SEC college football?
Well, a couple of things that stood out to me, and I want to tell all of our sports fans out there, the South will rise again. After a long-awaited absence, the SEC kicks off their season this week, and all eyes will be on this conference on Saturday. And to say the SEC has dominated college football over recent years is an understatement, guys. A representative from this Power 5 conference has won the national title 12 of the last 14 seasons. Taking for granted we haven't had any Big 12 or Pac-12 play, we really haven't had a chance to see most of college football's elite just yet. You're going to see some elite tomorrow, guys. 7 teams from the SEC occupy a current top 25 ranking. Bama, Georgia, Florida, LSU, Auburn, Tennessee, and Kentucky. By the way, and this is huge to me, by the way, once again, the SEC had the most teams ranked in the top 10 for this off-season recruiting class. Guys, there's some teams out there that just don't recruit like they used to. That you'll never see that happen in the SEC. That's why when you see a player go down, a quarterback, a running back, a middle linebacker, a key position player go down, they have 2 or 3 guys right behind them. They're just a little younger with a little less experience. They are stacked. This SEC is stacked more than your favorite breakfast joint pancakes. They will always be stacked. Some changes, though, I want everybody to know about in this SEC season. It will be a 10-game conference-only slate. It's going to start, obviously, tomorrow. It's going to conclude the regular season December 5th with the SEC title game the following week. With this, there will be no interconference rivalry games that we enjoy so much. You're not going to see, like we talked about earlier, the Miami and Florida State. You're not going to see those interconference rivalry games in the SEC. In the SEC East, Georgia's schedule softened a little bit. They added Arkansas and Mississippi State. In the West, Texas A&M, guys, they lost their usual walk-in-the-park schedule for the first few months of the season. Bama added Kentucky and Missouri. They remain the team to beat in the West. LSU's schedule got drastically easier. They added Missouri and Vanderbilt. One thing I will promise you for sure, with the SEC starting tomorrow, and like we said, seven teams in the top 25, this is going to benefit not just sports fans, but the sports bettors that follow us right here, because this SEC is made of gold. I'm going to tell you right now, you follow these SEC teams, you can make a lot of money in them and with them and against them, as you're going to see a lot of big lines and big prices here. Do your due diligence. Follow the people on Pick Dogs like myself. Lot of wins over the years in the SEC. But I want you to know, Tony, this is going to be a very exciting football season. When it first started and we first went to schedule, the SEC was going to start late. No big this, no big that. Now the MAC is coming back. There's a lot more teams that are going to be. There's a lot more, conferences that are going to be playing, and we're going to have a full season. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be a very, very lucrative, very enjoyable, but a very successful college football campaign. And I think it's going to be the best one we've had in years.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks really, really competitive there. Some teams we're going to talk about a little later on the show that may be on the rise. All right, that's Joe D'Amico. I'm Tony T here on the drive-thru. Still more picks coming. Let's do our NASCAR segment and welcome to the show Jeff Jeter. Jeff, how you doing today? Of course, how was your trip to Bristol last week?
And good afternoon, Tony and Joe. And the Bristol trip was absolutely great. Social distancing was in effect, of course, but pretty good crowd turned out on Saturday night. And, we were close on Saturday night as far as our picks go, too, but just fell a little bit short. But all in all, pretty good trip to Bristol.
Oh, great. You had able to take in a sporting event, which some of us on the West Coast haven't had that privilege to do, right, Joe?
Absolutely. I did. I will go later. We'll talk about it. I did get a chance to tour Allegiant Stadium about a week ago. Wonderful, amazing. But, Jeff, I want to hear all about what you got going on this weekend because you're a race guy. I follow you implicitly. If you tell me that today is Halloween, I'm throwing my calendar out. That's how good you are in the racing.
Yeah, and then going back to Bristol, we had a big winner back last Friday night with Chase Briscoe, and as well as a match up there with that just a little over plus 400. So and hopefully we can do that again here in Las Vegas this weekend. So of course, moving into it, got the truck race tonight, the World of Westgate 200 for the Truck Series, and looking forward to it right here in the smack dab middle of the playoffs.
Absolutely. Middle of the playoffs here as we continue the playoff. Round 2 of the playoffs begin here. Of course, the series moves over to Vegas. And, of course, we're looking at some of the favorites here. Of course, Joey Logano won the race in March. Kevin Harvick's been hot on the tour. Keselowski's have 3 wins in Vegas. And Martin Truex figures to be in the favorites here in the big race on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm really definitely looking at these 2 Penske cars. I mean, but kind of, regressing back here to, Kevin Harvick from last weekend, it kind of surprised me that he won. I mean, to be honest with you, he didn't really have, much to race for because he already locked himself into the second round of the playoffs. But, hey, he had just a great car. I had Kyle Busch winning. Yeah, they just outlasted that 18 crew. And I think the 18 crew with Kyle Busch was very defeated last week. But anyway, moving to Vegas, I do like Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski this weekend, especially Keselowski. He ran very good there at Bristol last weekend too. Not that the 2 tracks compare to one another, but from a momentum standpoint, I thought they, ran very well. Had a power steering issue right in the middle of the race, so they just knocked them out. But going back to Vegas, I think this will be a very good opportunity for them to get a win and secure that into the next round. So. But as far as the Cup Series goes.
Jeff, I have a question for you. Now that betting is prevalent in many of the states now and in Vegas, but many of them. But for a person who's into NASCAR and they watch an event live, Now, what are some of the things you're looking for from a handicapping perspective? Of course, you've got the fan interest in you, but now you're a bettor, so now you're trying to look at the big picture. What are some of the things you look for when you go to an event live at a NASCAR?
And yeah, that's it's you're looking at it more from the race fan standpoint. The betting angle from NASCAR is a lot newer, especially from the live betting perspective. We're about to go legal here in Tennessee. Here, come November 1st, it's going to be kind of interesting to go to the next few Bristol races to be able to actually live bet from the stadium. But the thing of it is, you've got to. It's kind of hard to answer, to be honest, because it's a lot newer. But throughout the race, when you look at the telemetry that is on the TV, look to see who's gaining. Gaining spots, gaining and especially gaining time. The networks do a pretty good job about who's gaining on the leader and the progression up through. I've not really dug into a lot to the live betting in NASCAR, but that's something I definitely will be doing here, coming up, especially as we get to the playoffs.
All right, Jeff, of course, we got the Xfinity race Saturday night. It's the Elsko 300. How do you see this race shaping up?
And yeah, we're going to see Austin Cindric and, our guy Chase Briscoe coming into it, 1-2 punch here. I see this two probably, one of the two running away with it, I guess, unless it just crazy happens, you know what I'm saying? But, kind of digging through some of the research this week, we definitely have a good opportunity for Justin Allgaier to do well here at Las Vegas. He's had success here. I don't think he's won a race here, but, it's probably a good opportunity for him to, we might take a peek at like Ross Chastain. He's been that 10 team in the Xfinity Series has been on fire here lately. But we'll also take a look at some other props and matchups too, as we, especially tomorrow morning there on the live show with Mitch and company.
Absolutely, that's right. As Jeff was saying, be sure to check Jeff Jeter on there on the live show, morning show, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday and Sunday this weekend. All right, Jeff, you're coming in with a truck play here from the world of Westgate, 9 p.m. Eastern time, Fox Sports 1 out here in the States. You have a head-to-head matchup pick in this one.
Yeah, dude, kind of a non-popular matchup, but I'm going with it because I feel really good about it. But I like Tanner Gray at -118 over Chase Purdy and at -110. Chase Purdy is guys racing for Mari Gallagher tonight out in Las Vegas. He's only got 4 starts on the year. Tanner's finished ahead of him in this matchup 3 out of 4 times this year. Chase did get him in the last race at, I believe, Kansas. But, I still think that Tanner Gray, he's like right on the edge he was right on the edge of the playoffs, and Purdy's just kind of doing the part-time deal. He's in a good enough car, but I don't think they've got the chemistry with Purdy's car tonight. So give me Tanner Gray at -118. I think it's pretty good value on that play tonight. So for the truck race. So, and other than that, as far as a free play, I do like Brett Moffitt to win at +450. This guy's on top of the truck series right now as far as the standings go, and he has no wins. Like, I cannot even believe it. He should have won here at Bristol last weekend on Thursday night. I guess that's kind of one of my winners I'm looking at for tonight.
All right, that's Jeff Jeter. You can find him over at Pig Dogs Premium with his gave you a play on the truck series as well as a head-to-head matchup. Jeff, what we see over at Pig Dogs, what do you have going on for this weekend's action?
Yeah, I've kept up my 3-day pass for all of my NASCAR picks for the weekend, and actually included 2 for tonight, as well as a pick on tonight's college football game between Middle Tennessee and
UTSA.
All that good stuff. So, and UTSA, sorry. And so I've got a 3-pack over there, and I'll have got you covered on college football for tomorrow, and as well as the NFL for this weekend. So, and doing pretty good. Had a good start here to NFL. Up on top, close to the 4th on the leaderboard right now. So, but anyway, just got a ton going on for you guys.
Absolutely, guys. So check out Jeff Jeter over at Pig Dogs Premium. He's covering football. You'll get some football plays and NASCAR as well. Oh, and we're going to hold him over for the segment because, you know, when Tennessee Vols are playing, we're going to have Jeff Jeter help us on this game, you know. So we got one here. And this is a team in the rise in the SEC, Tennessee and South Carolina. We'll take a look at this line here with Tennessee favored here on the road by 3.5. There's some 4 starting to pop up. The total's a low total here at 44, but you know, Jeff, this Tennessee, I'm going to lean towards the Vols in this one. I know it's on the road, but there won't be as many fans in there. The Vols, an experienced team, returning 9 to the offense, 8 to the defense. I like their coach, 8-win team last year, but the defense played well, allowing just under 22 points a game. You know, South Carolina, a 4-win team last year, not very experienced defensively in the front 7. So I think Tennessee should be able to move the football. How do you see this Vols team this year?
It's definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I mean, we know, I think a lot of us kind of downplayed Jared Garantano. He's never really been like, you know, crazy flashy for us, you know. And keep in mind, too, last year, you know, we had wide receivers Jawan Jennings, Marquez Callaway out there for us. Now they're gone, so now it's time for, you know, Josh Palmer to step up. And so, you know, I think the receiving core is going to be kind of questionable, but you know, the running game's always going to be there for sure. I see this being kind of a slower, kind of feel it out type game. You know, seeing the total kind of drop down a little bit. I mean, you know, I could still go under on that one, to be honest with you. And then, you know, of course, on the other side of the ball, you know, here we go. It's like we're really trying to see where the South Carolina – they've not really got a good identity down there in Columbia right now. You know, had a pretty year last year, no doubt about it. But, you know, they're trying to, you know, find that identity. I mean, and then having to start the year off without a sort of a tune-up game or anything like that. I mean, I don't know. It may be kind of rough, but, you know, got to understand, you know, up here in Big Orange Country, they're called the Heart Attack Kids down there in Knoxville. It's, you never know what they're going to do to you. They'll give you a heart attack in 2 seconds, man. You know, so, but I guess we'll see how we come out. And, you know, we know Jerry Van Pruitt's a pretty conservative coach and all that good stuff. So, you know, we saw that extension that he just signed in 2025. So that was pretty exciting. I like Pruitt as a coach and had to get the job done as a fan, but as far as the betting aspect of it, you know, I can still see you taking the under 44 in this game. I think it could be kind of a slow, grinded out, good old SEC kind of feel it out type game tomorrow.
Yeah, one of those primetime games in the primetime hour for South Carolina. I want to mention here with Tennessee returning all 5 offensive linemen, and they'll be blocking against an inexperienced front 7 for South Carolina. And one thing with the Gamecocks is Helinski is not the starting quarterback. They're going to go with the Colorado State transfer under center, and that's a little concern because Helinski he was supposed to be the go-to guy for this program.
I know, I remember that too. And then now you got Mike Bobo coming over to be the offensive coordinator from Colorado State as well. So I think, you know, obviously the connection's there. So you know, as far as the offensive side, yeah, you know, I could see our Pruitt running more than he's going to pass tomorrow with Garantano. And it's a good point on the offensive line there. They're returning guys. And so, you know, I think we're going to probably do enough to, you know, get over the hump there. If it's the 3.5, we've seen some, like you said, since some actually go up to 4 now. You know, you might want to hop in on it early because, you know, you never know what the public may do tomorrow. They may come in and get it up a little further. So,
yeah. Absolutely. Keeping the look at the late money. All right, Jeff, it's always great having a show, giving us some little insight on some late night SEC. Have a great weekend. We'll listen and watch it this weekend on Mitch's show in the morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Absolutely. Be on Saturday, Sunday morning for all the action in Las Vegas this weekend and whatever else Mitch would like me to talk about. So, but we appreciate you guys and good luck tonight and all the contests.
All right, very good. All right, Jeff Jeter here on the drive-thru. Guys, we got a few more picks coming up here. I'm joined by Joe D'Amico here on the drive-thru, and we'll be continuing on as we've got Goran Kuchar going to join us with our soccer segment. Goran, how you doing this evening, afternoon? I think you get yourself muted, sir. Can we get the volume up?
Oh, we got it now.
There we got it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Another exciting weekend in front of us. A lot of soccer picks and stuff happening. So,
Yeah, I'd like to get your thoughts here. Some of the in the Premier League here, Week 2 review. Crystal Palace, 6 points, winning both games so far after their 3-1 win against Man U.
yeah, I was not expecting that. I was watching that game, and Manchester United was the dominant team, but they just couldn't get through that defense. And Crystal Palace used those openings they had, and the counterattacks were awesome. They had.
Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the surprises of the weeks. And, of course, this Leeds, another high-scoring game, this time 4-3, but they're on the right side as they beat Fulham.
Yeah, that was, man, that was also like pretty good game, a lot of goals, and I love when that happens, especially in the EPL. Like when we are not accustomed to see a lot of goals in those games, but Leeds is really fresh in the league, and I like seeing that.
Absolutely, and of course, Liverpool defending champion after giving up 3 goals in a win against Leeds. They shut out. They put up a 0 here as they shut out Chelsea to go to 6 points in the season.
Yeah, I had that game on both teams to score and over 2.5 goals, and Chelsea even had a penalty in the 75th minute, and they missed that penalty. So that really killed me there.
Yep, and of course Leicester sitting at the top of the table, 6 points, but they got that +5 goal differential. How do you see their season going?
Yeah, Leicester had a pretty good run last season as well, but they just fell short. But I think they are a good team. They were a little sloppy against Arsenal in the midweek in the cup competition, but I think we can see them at the top 8 for sure.
What key games are you looking for this week in the EPL?
I like Manchester United tomorrow. It's an early game, 7:30 a.m. They are playing against. Let me just check. They are playing against Brighton on the road, and Brighton struggling with a lot of injuries at the moment. And I see Manchester United dominating this game and finally get back on the winning track.
Yes, Brighton's a cool city. Ever been there?
No.
No, Brighton. If you ever go to London, that's the party town, Joe. Brighton Beach, a very nice area to go to. All right, Goran's going to be looking at. We'll see if Joe's familiar with this with Serie A, Italian League football. You're going to be looking at Inter Milan, and then your pick for today.
Yeah, we have Inter Milan and Fiorentina tomorrow. We have Fiorentina. They were able to keep most of their key players, and they even signed a few reinforcements, but they were playing all the lower league teams in the preseason, and they barely beat Torino last week. And I don't like them in this matchup against Inter because Inter has more depth, better players, and they are a better team overall.
All right, he says take Inter in this one. And also, you're looking at a total in this one?
Yeah, I do. Inter was the best defensive team last season, and I just see them continuing that because Lukaku is their star striker, and he's in fantastic form. And there was not a lot of time between the seasons, so I don't see a reason for him to stop scoring.
You see some teams giving a run to Juventus.
I'm not so sure. Juventus has a new coach, and this is his first coaching job, actually. Former Italian star Andrea Pirlo. And he has done well so far, but I'm not sure if he has enough experience to get it over the finish line with Juventus.
All right, Goran, you got to play here for Inter -188 and take the over 2.5 goals. Goran, we see over at Pig Dogs Premium, big lot of action from soccer this weekend. We've got the Premier League, of course. What do you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Yeah, I have one package for tomorrow with 6 games. It's already up. I think it should be a fantastic day. And I already have a 3-day pass for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday as well.
All right, and of course, Goran, if they want to read more about your work, I know you post some pics over at the sites as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of free picks at Sport Chat Place and a lot more coming because there's a few more games left for Sunday. And we're going to have Monday games as well for the teams that were playing in the midweek last week. And then again, we have the Champions League qualifications and the Europa League qualifications next week as well.
All right, so keep an eye at Sports Chat Place over at there. You'll find Goran's articles and his picks up there, coverage of English, of European soccer. And, of course, find him over at Pig Dogs Premium. Goran, as always, like the segment, man. You give a lot of good information here on soccer, on European soccer. It's growing. As we know, it's growing in Vegas, and it's well covered here. It's on television here in the States. So have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
You too, guys. Enjoy.
All right, our friend Goran Kuchar, as we talked about, soccer is really getting popular. All right, guys, we're a little past the top of the hour. I'm going to look at this Major League Baseball game. Reds, Male, and the Minnesota Barrios, a big one here for the Reds. We're seeing here Minnesota favored $1.55, total 8.5. I'm going to look here on the under 8.5. Jose Barrios gets a start for the Twins, right-hander. So just 1 run in his past 2 starts, working 11 innings. Male continues. We'll counter here for the Reds. Male's coming off a really good start at home against the White Sox, allowing 1 run in 5 2/3 innings. The Reds, they're hitting only 196 the past 7 games, so last in hitting in Major League Baseball. I'm going to take this one. The Reds and Twins, looking at that one to go under the total. All right, we'll continue here, guys, on the drive-through, and it's time for my free pick for today, for the show today, and we're going to go to college football. It's Texas against Texas Tech, and we're going to go ahead and take Texas Tech here at plus 17.5. Now, the Red Raiders, an experienced on defense, 8 starters back. They will improve off their bye week after their win against Houston Baptist. It was kind of a look-ahead spot for this Longhorn teams, but the Red Raiders return quarterback Alan Bowman for his sophomore season after a good freshman campaign. There will be improvement, no doubt, from Bowman in this spot. They do return their top running back and receiver from a year ago and have many returning playmakers on offense. Red Raiders are improved, but my concern about the Longhorns is not their offense, but their defense. This was a 5-loss team in 2019 that allowed 431 yards, which was 39 yards greater than 2018 and their highest in 2 previous seasons. Red Raiders generate just enough offense to cover this big number. I like the Red Raiders at plus 17.5 in this rivalry game. All right, continuing here on the drive-through here with Joe. Of course, Joe, some of these rivalry games in college football, I know we don't have those out-of-conference games, but at least we'll have some in-conference rivalry to keep us in the game.
Absolutely. And, that's what's great about college sports, college football, college basketball. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, we talked about the Miami-Florida State game. You talked about Texas Tech. We're going to see some of these these interstate rivalries. Obviously, we're not going to see some of these interconference rivalries, but you know what? Still makes for great football. We're going to have a great time this year. And I love the fact that more and more of these conferences are joining and going to be playing. We could have a 6-month, 7-month, 8-month college football season. Hell, Tony, me and I never go home. We might be at the party all year long, man. We'll be at the party all year round. It's a great time of year. Obviously, we talked about college football, pro football, baseball playoffs, NHL, NBA. We got college basketball starting shortly. This is just an amazing time of year for sports fans, and particularly those sports bettors out there that follow us here on Pick Dogs.
Absolutely, you guys, and it's time to recap the show's picks, so let's take a look at them. We started off with Joe Duffy, NFL. He says take the Cowboys -5 against the Seahawks. Joe D'Amico says Miami Hurricanes -11 against Florida State. Chris Ruffalo, the Patriots, laying the 5.5 against the Raiders. Rod Z, the hockey game tonight. Dallas Stars take the dog at +140. Brian Bittler, the big NBA game tonight, says take the Celtics -3. We talked some NASCAR in the Truck Series head-to-head matchup. The Truck Series starts at 9 Eastern time. Take Tanner Gray -118 against Chase Purdy in a head-to-head matchup. Goran says take Inter Milan -188 against Fiorentina. Also play over 2.5 goals at +125. And yours truly, Texas Tech plus 17.5 in that one. Okay, Joe, I'm going to ask you the question like I do here with Mitch. Other than your pick, which one do you like the best on this list?
Honestly, I think I'm going to go. I like just about all of them. I'm going to go Chris Ruffalo with the Patriots. I'll tell you why. I think the Raiders, first of all, second time that they're traveling to the East Coast in just 2 weeks' time. They went to Carolina game 1. They went back home. They're going back to the East Coast. But I do think the Patriots will be able to shake them up, especially the fact that, Bill Belichick there's nobody better in the game today at maximizing their strengths and exploiting an opponent's weakness. And I do think the Raiders do have some weaknesses. I think they're certainly a team on the rise, and over the next few years, they will be a playoff team, just not this season. And I think they're going to come back down to earth. I agree with Chris Ruffalo.
All right, that's Joe D'Amico. I'm Tony T. We got in another week of the drive-thru. Don't forget Mitch's show tomorrow. 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. A lot of coverage tomorrow. We got the college football card as well as the NBA game, Nuggets and Lakers, and a lot more there from Mitch and his crew. Don't forget, next week we're back Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Joe D'Amico will join me. Joe, great show. What's the plans for the weekend? What's for dinner? We're hitting the strip?
Well, the other night, my wife and I did go to Benny Hanna's over at the Westgate. We will be at the Palm restaurant tomorrow. It's a main staple for us. We love the Palm inside Caesars. Tonight, we're thinking about going to get crabs. There's a Maryland Crab House about 5 minutes away from our house. We live, Tony, I literally live 5-6 miles west of the New York Hotel. You go 5-6 miles up Tropicana, you'll hit my development. We're going to go get some Maryland crabs tonight. We've got the Palm tomorrow. Sunday, I'll be watching some games over at one of the casinos. I'm going to be a guest of one of the casinos. And it's just going to be a great weekend, man. I mean, college football, pro football, NBA, baseball's about to start the playoffs. We got NHL, we got Goran, we got Jeff Jeter bringing in soccer and auto racing. It doesn't get bigger or better than this, baby, now.
Absolutely. We flew through this hour as always. Joe, great having you on the show again. And let's bring on all our Pick Dogs cappers. We love everyone. Good night. And we will see you guys next week, 6 p.m. Eastern time on The Drive to